Developing today, the royal family rocked by allegations from Tina Brown, Princess Diana's close friend and one of the doyens of royal reporting, that King Charles is far more angry with Prince William than he is his youngest son. Now, we're going to get the real story with Prince Harry's biographer and our royal mastermind, Angela Levin, very shortly. But first, let me take you through Tina Brown's reporting. She writes, "At last, Prince Harry has got it right, which is bad news for the Prince of Wales. But Angela Levin, you have huge issues with this new reporting from Tina Brown, which you say doesn't take into account Catherine's cancer battle and the fact that William has made his priority to live as normal as possible during this period."
See, I think it's absolutely absurd to take a few things when the king might have been a bit irritable and say, get rid of the other person, this one is fine. If you can't just think of it for the moment, you have to go back. The Queen asked Harry and Meghan not to talk to Oprah Winfrey for the next month or so because the Duke of Edinburgh was extremely ill. He was in hospital and about to die, really. And she didn't want him to be upset. Did they listen? No. The same thing was the last few months when the Queen was extremely ill with cancer in her blood. And Harry would ring up and be awful. He was rude. He was shouting at her. He didn't get what he wanted about a whole load of things. And he didn't care two hoots. So you can't just compare someone because they come for a couple of days and start buzzing around and doing everything they can to say anything you can do, I can do better, I can do anything better than you. I think that's what it was really, but not funny. And I also think that you have to allow, because King Charles must be in a lot of pain a lot of the time. He tries very, very hard to work and to go around and to do absolutely everything he can. And he's done an amazing amount of visiting in this last year. But, it stops him a bit because he has got this terrible illness. And you can't compare that with him when he felt lively and very keen on things. You can't do the same thing. You have to understand what's going on with him. And I don't think he's unhappy with William at all, because when he was in hospital with cancer and he would go and see his lovely daughter-in-law all the time and talk to her and be kind and said, take your time, don't rush. It's very important you don't do that. And I think that he would understand that now, that he doesn't expect William to charge around and leave his wife to do a lot of the work at home. He needs to be there. He needs to be a good father, which he is. I mean, for goodness sake, he had such a difficult childhood and upbringing that he now wants to be a good husband and a good father. And he can't actually do everything. He's done loads, but he doesn't believe in tiny things. And this is what she said, that, Harry doing little bits was so funny and he was so jovial and so nice. He's beaten William by miles, but he doesn't necessarily have to do that because they are small and sweet and quite nice, but he's trying to do big things. When he was at university in Scotland, he decided he didn't want to be king. And one reason he didn't want to be it was he didn't want to have to keep cutting ribbons. And he talked about this a lot with his girlfriend, who we all know, and she helped him to find things that had a real meaning, not to just run around cutting ribbon. And he changed his mind. I believe that she did that, and her parents, because they let him be a real person and he didn't have to do anything. He had to work things out for himself. And this way, he gets a lot of feeling that it's good to help in the earth, in the world. And I think that I would much prefer someone who looked after his children, because you've got the next lot of people. You've got George, you've got him who could be king soon one day, and you want him to be a nice boy who can manage these things. And I think that if you just cut him out and want him to be running about like a lunatic and saying, I'm better than you, that's not a good idea. I think it's completely wrong. I can't understand why it's so unpleasant to do.
And the thing is, Angela, this is clearly taking a toll on William, who thought that he had finally moved away from all of the psychodrama with Prince Harry. His brother had made his decision. He was going to be exiled, and everyone thought, William thought that everyone was with him. And all of a sudden, it's flipped on its head. Well, Angela Levin, I don't think I've ever read more revolting propaganda than what I've just heard.
Yeah. Well, first of all, William he's taught himself not to be upset about Harry, to put him out of his life. And you can do that if you make somebody wipe them out of your brain. You can get on, especially if you've got children, because they're very good at helping you feel better. But I don't think that's happening. I don't think that he did so well with his father, the king, because it was just imagination that it's all been wonderful. In fact, it wasn't wonderful at all. Harry insisted that Camilla should not be in the room they were talking about, absolutely insisted. But when he got there, she was there, quite rightly too. She wanted to be there for the king, not for herself, but for the king, so that if Harry said anything rude or dreadful, she could sort of sort it out or actually handle him. Now, that's not actually doing what he wanted. He gave in. And I think that was a very important thing that he did, because he's got nowhere. He couldn't say anything about what he demanded. And I don't think that the king would actually go against his mother's rule, which was you not have one foot in and the other foot out. He would have to either come back and be in the with everybody else in this country, in London, the palace, or just forget it. And I think, in a way, Harry's going to try, and is going to try and bring Meghan back. She wants it just as much as anyone else. She thinks she's much better than his sister-in-law, and she wants to be part of it, but they're not going to listen. So it's not going to happen. So that's all right. And the nonsense saying that perhaps the Queen or the King could actually forgive him because he's coming back and he's been a bit mischievous, but let's be very nice to him. After all, the late Queen allowed Camilla to come back into the royal family there. Now, if you can compare Harry and what he's done for the royal family here, what he said, how disgusting he's been, it's very important. Whereas Queen Camilla has worked incredibly hard. She's not put a foot wrong. She's done so many things for the king, made him so much happier, and without a moan or anything. She's done extremely well. And even Princess Anne, who didn't like her at first, and then said she's just changed Charles. He's so much happier, and he doesn't get irritable, and she does so much work, and they've now become very good friends. And Princess Anne, as we know, has a very high level of gratitude or disliking, and she now gets on with her very well. And Camilla's not trying to ruin the monarchy. She's not trying to beat anyone else. In fact, you don't actually hear very much about her. She gets on with things quietly, but does masses, particularly behind the curtain. I know several people she's really helped and made their lives happy, but she doesn't try and steal all the attraction to the king, whereas Harry and Meghan would actually always have to be in the front. They do that on Invictus Games, which is appalling. That is now for them and for Meghan to show off. It's not actually for the people who fought battles. And I don't take any notice of it. What does make me wonder is how come all these very intelligent journalists can actually all say the same thing? I counted 6 newspapers where the journalists who I've known for a while, and they've never said this. What is it? Is it the Sussex squad who are sort of shouting at them or offering something? I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense to me that they would go along on that path of seeing some dreadful person who is trying to not do better, but to try and take over and see how clever he is and what he can do, rather than anyone else who's an actual royal at the moment.
Yeah, very interesting, Angela. Great analysis. I just want to show you a little bit more of what Charlotte Griffiths said about these claims, specifically about this idea of King Charles, giving Harry a path back during an appearance on GB News.
The claim that Prince William was so upset about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's alleged comeback plans that he actually stormed out of the room. Yes, stormed out. That's the level of drama we're dealing with here. Now, before we run with that, this is a claim coming from commentary sources. There's no official confirmation of this moment happening. So what exactly triggered this reaction? According to the video, it's an alleged comeback plan from Harry and Meghan. We're talking about re-entering the public spotlight, media projects, appearances, maybe even re-engaging with royal-related narratives. And the suggestion is that this didn't sit well with Prince William at all. Now let's be real. The relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry has been under pressure for years. Interviews, books, documentaries, it's all added layers to that tension. So when a story like this comes out, it fits into an existing narrative, which is why people are quick to believe it. But here's where we need to slow things down. The idea of William storming out makes for a great headline, but is it verified?
Well, long story short, I was told this week by somebody who would know that William is back at the point where he would throw somebody out of the room if they brought up the name Harry in his presence. The background to this is that William, of course, when this all kicked off 5-6 years ago, was incensed and full of rage. And at one point, actually, he was very sad and he was grieving for his brother. But then he got to the point for quite a long time now where he was indifferent and he considered Harry what the royal family call a non-person, which was a classic phrase coined by the Queen Mother, which means somebody who just doesn't get mentioned in front of working members of the royal family. They're so beneath contempt that they are just exiled from the conversation, a non-person. Wow. And William was comfortable in this zone. But what's happened now is, of course, Harry's back in the country. Harry's seeing his father. Aides are having to have discussions with William about their events clashing, which has happened all of this week. And, of course, you know, William is furious. He's in no mood to repair relations with his brother at all. And, yeah, he would throw somebody out of the room if they mentioned his name. William, they bicker a lot. They do disagree a lot. So I think Charles may well encourage William, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I do know something that Harry wants is some kind of public acknowledgement, you know, on his shopping list of dream scenarios coming back to this country and spending more time here. I think it would be nice, or he would like Charles to in some way acknowledge him or kind of forgive him in public, to encourage the rest of the public to do the same. And this is what the Queen, the late Queen, famously did. Before she died, she basically addressed the nation and she gave a speech saying, you know, please welcome Camilla as Queen Consort when I'm gone. And that kind of paved the way for what we now do, which is called Camilla the Queen, full stop. And the atmosphere then was Camilla was still completely hated, the nation wasn't behind her at all. But when you have somebody that you really respect, you know, sort of permitting you to like somebody like the Queen did with Camilla and like Charles could do with Harry, that could move him on several steps in his very slow burning quest to re-ingratiate himself with the country. But I mean, unless William turns around and sanctions him, and permits the country to get behind him when he's king, it's not going to last very long.
I mean, Angela, I honestly believe she's delusional. I think that strategy is completely delusional. I mean, look, with Camilla, Angela, even now, there's a lot of people who still don't forgive her because of the Diana affair. And I mean, we're talking 3 decades on. And with Harry and Meghan, it's like, you ruined the final months of the late Queen's life. You ruined the final months of the late Prince Philip's life. You're now ruining the final month of the current, or not the final months, let me be very careful with what I'm saying. You're ruining the final years of the current reigning king's life. We are not just going to forget that. This is a delusional strategy.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's appalling thing to do. I think Harry's actually worked it out with his new PR team. He's done so much in such a short time of where could he actually show off the most. And they've done all that, including, if it happened, to see the king. And it did happen to see the king, but I don't think he's got anywhere with him. But he's come out and pretending it's wonderful, like he wants his children to come here. Now, hang on, what does Meghan want to do? Does she want her children to be taught in the UK? Are they going to put them in a school that he went to? He told me that he hated school. He decided when he started that he would only mix with the bad boys, and that's what he did. So once you want to bring his children over here to give them an experience of school that he hated for himself. So it's all nonsense. It's all rubbish. And I just think he's doing something for Meghan to please her, to try and show off and see if he gets a lot of money from the king. Because actually, if he's saying he spent 1.1 million for poor children and 370,000 for children in Gaza, he'll want some help, won't he? If he's got the money, then he doesn't need to ask Charles for it. And it's very wrong for a royal to actually mention the exact sum. You mustn't do that. So he's broken that rule. And to try and get money from his father and paying for school as well. Paying for school, paying for have people looking after him 24/7 so that he's safe. But if he goes off to Ukraine, it doesn't matter at all. He can go without anybody. If you take it apart, you can see it just doesn't make any sense. And I know with Charlotte Griffiths that 2 months ago she could have been like anyone else, but suddenly she changed straight away about Harry and suddenly thought it was lovely and he was great and everything was wonderful. I don't know why she's done that, but she must have a reason, as all the others do. But actually I'm sticking to mine, and I'm sticking to agree with you, which I'm not doing just because it's you, because I agree with you. And I think it's a terrible thing to do. And she never finishes it. It could be. He could make it, but I think that he wants to have everything sorted out with his father before William takes over, because he's not going to get anything, and then it's going to be really difficult. So hopefully the king carries on for a long time, because this type of cancer he's got, you can, but you never know with that age anyway. But if he's just showing off and helping Meghan become absolutely brilliantly loved with the royal family, she won't take any notice that she said she hated it all this time, because she doesn't hang on to anything. She says one thing that she's going to do, and then tomorrow she's done something else. So we needn't worry about that. I'm sure that's what it is, because she's so jealous of Catherine.
Well, this is classic media framing. Take a possible reaction, amplify it, and turn it into a dramatic moment. And once that headline is out there, it spreads fast. So why is this going viral? Because it hits every pressure point: family drama, royal tension, and a possible comeback. You've got Prince William on one side, and Harry and Meghan on the other. That's already a global storyline. Add in a moment like storming out, and it becomes irresistible content. And just like always, people are split. Some believe this is exactly how William would react. Frustrated, done with the situation. Others say this is exaggerated, unfair, and based on speculation. And honestly, without confirmation, it's all interpretation. At the end of the day, this storm out moment is a headline, not a confirmed fact. It fits the narrative of royal tension, but that doesn't make it proven. And that's the key, there's a difference between what sounds believable and what's actually verified.